Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you a really awesome Titan build based around the Thunderclap Melee, which is a new addition to Arc 3.0 in Season 18. Basically the idea of this build is that you're going to be getting infinite Thunderclaps, so for every Thunderclap you use, you will get one back. It's also going to do very high damage, and it's just really fun for messing around with. I will be making a new version of this build, just using a different exotic, which is the one actually for Thunderclap itself. It's not out yet, so I'm making this build because it's probably the most fun Arc 3.0 build there is right now anyway. So, you know, I'm still covering this anyway, and let's get into this. So, Thunderclap. Basically what this does is that you will just kind of stand still and charge up a really powerful melee. You can let it out at any point in time during the charge, but it is best to, you know, hold it down for long periods of time because then it will be stronger, it will do more damage. So yeah, that's the Thunderclap Melee. It's very awesome. It is very easy to miss though. It's got weird targeting, and also there is a really bad issue with the melee where if you get slightly too close to an enemy, you do a regular punch. Even though you want to start charging your Thunderclap, you can't. You're just going to do a regular melee, which is really sad. But, you know, you can always try to look at the sky or look at the floor and try and keep the enemy out of your line of sight so that you can charge the melee without just lunging towards them. That's the best fix I've got for that right now. I'm not sure if changing keybinds and stuff can fix that, but let me know. Now for the aspects, we have Touch of Thunder in here because basically I'm using pulse grenades. You don't have to use pulse grenades, but the idea with pulse grenades is that they will spawn ionic tracers. And ionic tracers are really nice for getting ability energy, and they will also amplify me. So that's really awesome. Otherwise, this is like whatever. It's mainly here for ability energy to help out my grenades and stuff, because the grenades are still very valuable, and the grenades are basically going to, you know, refuel themselves, but also the ionic tracers can be used to get strength back, or my melee back if I miss, because even though the build is focused on being able to get Thunderclaps infinitely, if you miss a Thunderclap, you're not going to get it back. So, yeah. And then I have Knockout, and the cool thing about Knockout is that you will be able to increase your melee damage when you break a enemy shield or you critically wound them, so just straight up killing them is going to activate this. You know, using your Thunderclap is basically going to give more damage for your Thunderclap. And on top of that, it will also make you amplified and initiate health regeneration. So we have a really nice source of healing, because all we're going to be doing is Thunderclapping for the most part. And then we can become amplified with that, which is going to increase our movement speed and our handling, which is really cool. I do have Acreus in this build, so increasing that handling is very nice. And that's pretty much what Knockout's going to do for us here. Now for the fragments, I have Sparker Beacons. Basically, while we're amplified, my Arc special weapons are going to blind things. I'm using Forbearance, which is arguably the best Ad Clear special weapon in the game besides Aegis, and it is Arc, and it's a special weapon, so it will blind when I'm amped. Now we are using Thunderclap pretty much all the time, and Thunderclap is going to amplify us, which means that Forbearance is probably always going to be blinding things, as long as you're using it and as long as you're still using a Thunderclap, so that's really awesome. Next up, I have Sparker Resistance, which means that when I am surrounded by enemies, I am more resistant to damage. It's just DR. I'm not sure how much this increases it by, but it is pretty hefty, so, you know, it's very valuable to use with 100 Resi, which you should be using anyway, because it gives you 40% DR, right? So this is really nice, and it does linger for a while, so you can, you know, get away from enemies and you'll still have it for a little bit, which is great, and that's it. Now this is the fragment that you can kind of switch with whatever the hell you want. I have melee hits greatly increase your reload speed for a short duration, which is going to help Forbearance. It's going to help my kinetic, my primary, and it's also going to help Acreus a little bit. It's just because I am going to be meleeing lots and lots of things with Thunderclap. So I'm using this because I didn't really know what else to put in here, but you could put in stuff like Spark of Focus, which is going to give you a class ability back faster the longer you sprint, and, you know, I'm using Thruster, so if you want Thrusters back, you can get that back really fast with that. You could use Arc Grenades Jolt targets. You know, if I want Ionic Tracers, I could also Jolt things on top of, you know, just having slightly stronger Pulse Grenades. So I use my Pulse Grenade, it does damage, but it could also Jolt, potentially. you know, there's lots of different options. And then finally, you have Spark of Discharge, which is arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace. So Ionic Traces, again, we're causing them to spawn through pulse grenades, but we also have a backup option, which is going to be arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace, which is really awesome because they're going to give us ability NG. That's great. And that is the subclass out of the way. Everything else that I didn't mention is kind of just anything goes. You can use whatever you like. So, yeah. So, for the mods, we have Melee Wellmaker. And basically what this does is that when you use your melee charge, which of course we're going to be doing tons of because we're using Thunderclap, you will spawn a well that matches your subclass. So, in this case, an arc well. And with those arc wells, we're going to be doing quite a lot. So, first off, we have Elemental Charge, which is when I pick up the arc wells that we're making, I will get 2 stacks of Charge of Light. And with that Charge of Light, we are going to be using Heavy Handed, which, while charged, you regain half of your melee energy when you use a charged melee ability. So in that case, Thunderclap. So we use Thunderclap, we get 50% back. And of course, we are using Insurmountable Skullfort, which means that when I use the Thunderclap and I'm charged, I will get 100% melee back, which means we will get Thunderclaps back for using Thunderclap, which is awesome. On top of this, this gives us health regeneration, which is kind of irrelevant because we have knockout anyway. But I'm not sure if those stack. If they do, let me know. But otherwise, we have this on to get 100% melee for using my melee, which is great. And then finally, we're using the Arc Wells to also activate Well of Ions, which is going to increase our melee damage. The next melee we use is going to increase the damage of that. So hopefully we don't get, you know, short-stopped and we use an actual Thunderclap, and that works. And then we also have Font of Might, which is for all of our Arc weapons, since all of my weapons in here can be Arc. So yeah, that's the build, pretty much. You just chain all of this stuff together. Everything works hand in hand together. And then the mods work hand in hand with all of that. And the exotic, and it means that you have infinite Thunderclaps. You've got easy source of Ionic Traces. You've got blinding nades. You've got easy DR. You've got lots and lots of health regen. You've got strong nades. You've got very, very powerful melees as well. Very, very powerful Thunderclaps with Well of Ions and Knockout. And you also have stronger weapons with Font of Might. So, yeah, that is literally the build. Let me know what you think. I'll show some gameplay here at the end, just doing whatever with the build, just messing around with it. It is kind of just a mess around build. It's not anything crazy. I don't recommend using this in like super high-end content like GMs and whatever. I mean, you probably could get away with it, but I don't necessarily recommend that. But yeah, let me know what you think, and hope you enjoyed. Adios.